Hey guys, Jeremy here today. I'm going to be doing a quick video about how to take an Old Hickory, this is a 7-inch butcher knife, and remove the handle scales from it like I have already done from this one. So here are the handle scales. You got the little cutlery rivets that hold them on, and so it's a pretty easy process. Takes just a couple of minutes and next to no tools, so you can use just an old beater knife or something, just a wedge down in between the scales, and if you're careful you can reuse the scales and the rivets if you just want going to epoxy them back on the knife, or if you're like me and like to modify these and have fun with them. Here are a couple that this one's got some marble wood scales that I'm in the process. I've got them epoxied on and riveted. Haven't had a chance to shape them yet, but this is a Dalmatian wood set that I'm working on. So these knives are a lot of fun to modify. They're cheap, and I'm kind of using it as a way to learn about knife making without having to spend a lot of money up front. So anyways, you might be asking why you would want to take the handle scales off of a perfectly good kitchen knife or butcher knife or bushcrafting knife, whatever you happen to be using it for in the first place. One is that these cutlery rivets that are used to hold the knife scales on, they're not the best way to hold. I mean, they work for kitchen knives, but they don't take very much abuse, or they will come loose. So, and there's no epoxy or anything else that holds them on. It's just these small cutlery rivets. So it's pretty easy for water or moisture to get in between the scales. As I've taken off these scales, I've seen a lot of them, even some of them brand new. This one actually already has some rust right there. So I usually sand all this off. This is the line where the temper ends. So this is hardened steel from this point forward, and this is annealed softer steel. So you can drill through this pretty easily. This is near impossible to drill through. I've tried it before, and aside from using a carbide bit or something like that, you're not going to drill through that. So anyways, but and as I said, that I actually replaced the handle scales with different handle scales just for fun, to modify them. So a couple different reasons you might want to take off the handle scales to begin with. So alright, so I'm going to just get right into removing the handle scales from this Old Hickory butcher knife. Okay, going to go over the tools that you need really quick to remove the handle scales. So really you could do it with nothing other than just an old knife that you don't mind scratching up, because as you can tell, this one's, you know, pretty scratched up from wedging it in between the handle slabs and the tang. So that's, you can really do it with just that. A little miniature crowbar comes in handy if they're on there really good, but I've done it with just these, and a pair of, you know, safety leather gloves to keep you from getting cut. These blades are not all that sharp from the factory, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And I will note that this is an actually brand new vintage, if that's a bit of an oxymoron, but old new stock. So this is never been used, but it's an older one. These are much harder to remove the rivets from. You pretty much have to, you can get one side of them off usually, and then you have to drill the actual rivet out. So those are quite a bit harder, but the newer ones come off with little to no effort. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one from the package. So this is a brand new Old Hickory 7-inch butcher knife. So, and as I said, you pretty much just take the knife blade and just kind of wedge it right in between the tang of the knife and the handle scales. And as you do that, you know, the grind of the knife will just kind of wedge it apart. Okay, so I've got the knife kind of supported on its back there, and then I will just take this knife and just gently wedge it in between the tang and the scales, and you can tell it just popped right off. Some of them take a little bit more pressure than that, but there's really nothing much to it. And then I'll usually put a little bit of lateral force on the blade, and the rivet just popped right out. So there's the other side of the rivet. If you remove the scales from the side that does not have the Old Hickory label on it, it works the easiest because that's the female rivet, and this side is the male rivet, so you can just pop those right out. The female side, you've usually got to take, sometimes I'll just take a nail or a punch and just pop it on through, so then that just pops it right out. So there is the top rivet removed, cutlery rivet. So there's the female side and the male side. So then on the back side, just do the same. Just kind of take it, and it's pretty loose already, so just take the knife or crowbar, whatever you've got, and apply a little bit of force. Not much at all. They pop right off, and remove the back rivet. So there you go. You've got the tang removed, and you can begin to sand this off, get it ready to epoxy. I always remove this, clean it really well with alcohol to make sure that the epoxy will adhere really well. And another note that I'll say is that when you're sanding, if you are reworking these handles, don't sand these down too far because they're pretty thin, the heads of them are, and I've actually sanded right through those before. So just kind of round them or whatever you're wanting to do, but just note that those are fairly thin and you can sand through them pretty easily. So thank you for watching, and as I said, pretty much nothing to it, and you can remove the handle scales of an Old Hickory butcher knife and replace them or epoxy the ones that you had back on. And as you can tell, I did no damage whatsoever to the original scales, no marks at all, and I can actually reuse those cutlery rivets. Or you can use some nice wood to figured wood to replace the handle scales with, something like the Dalmatian wood or the marble wood that I've got there. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more.